I ended up with 7,778 um, entity energies that were in that single room. The board of the bed just flew up high in the ceiling and then landed on her face. And the lights in the room just started flickering like a few times that looked like Morse code to me.
Welcome back to the Vibe Higher with Gigi podcast. I am Gigi. Today we have a very special guest, Giancarla. I met her at the I Am Creation retreat a few weeks ago and we connected immediately. And throughout the week, I got to know her a little bit and I got to know some of her special skills. And one of those is her ability to connect with some worlds that exist. We all know that we are human. We are spirits in human form, and that we are like we're spirits in human form, experiencing human form through our spirit, and that we are multidimensional beings, and they're all the dimensions I feel and are all intertwined in the same spheres. And we're going to talk a little bit about mediumships and galactical beings. And we're just going to say hi to Giancarla. Hi.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, my name is Giancarla, and yeah, I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, we can start by saying like maybe, or just for you to introduce yourself, your background, and how you came across to know and to feel that you have these special powers when it comes to mediumships, to the ability to connect with outer worlds.
Okay, so yeah, it's a very interesting background. Yeah, so I have a psychology degree, and I'm also a registered nurse here in Australia. And ever since I was young, like I've already had this kind of difference from other children, from other people. And yeah, when I was younger, like my brothers and my sister would tease me like, oh, there she goes again speaking to the elves and things like that. And as I grew up and met more people that are, like entwined with the spirit world. And I guess it emerged all from there. And yeah, and so ever since then, like I've been able to tap into things that we don't see. They could be human spirits, or they could also be entities that are not human form. So yeah, and yeah, I do work with them, and I converse with them, and I ask them if they need my support, and so and in what way, and then so I carry it on from there.
So you work, from what I know, you work in with in old age homes with people
Yes.
who are
Yeah.
a bit older, and you shared a video in a group that we both are a part of, and it kind of blew my mind. It was, I'm gonna let you go into that story, but I remember when I listened to it, there was like this like halo of energy, as if maybe spirits were coming that you were talking about in the video, and it kind of blew my mind. And I shared this with you that when you were talking about a remote control somehow, and I don't think you remember that within the story there was a remote control, and I was looking for a switch. I was looking to open the fan where I was. I was in a new place and I was looking for a switch. And in the video that I was listening to, that you were talking, when you were talking about that story, you mentioned a remote control. And I was like, it's not a switch, it's a remote control. And it was a remote control. And so I opened the fan. So basically, yeah, if you could just go into that story, because that blew my mind.
Yeah. And first and foremost, I don't even recall mentioning remote control, but you had to hear it at that time. So that was very interesting. So this was a very unusual request from work. So there are fewer than a handful of people that are aware of my energetic abilities. But I didn't even realize that they were sort of that they knew to reach out to me when they were having some troubles. So apparently, so 3 or 4 days before I was meant to go back to work, I was still in Bali with you. I received a text message from one of the managers saying, Gian, we need your help. And then ghost emoji, ghost emoji, ghost emoji. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And I've never like received a text from her like that. Like we've come quite close. And then I said, "All right, I'm actually scheduled to visit you guys on Monday, like the weekend right after, the I am Croatian retreat in Bali." And so I went there and I didn't ask any background, like what it was all about. So I just went there first and then I said, "So what's going on?" And so they said one of the staff members sustained an injury on the nose. She didn't really fracture her nose, but she required 4 stitches. So it seems like it's pretty big. Yeah. And I said, "So what happened?" So they were in this room um helping one of the residents get ready for the morning. And like the hospital beds and aged care home beds, they go up and down because they have a Oh, I did say remote control because it had a remote. Yes, so you're right. I did say remote control in the video.
And you said it at the exact same time that I was looking for the switch. Continue. Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, I do believe like yeah, things and awarenesses happen at exactly when you need it. So, the bed was like hip height, ready for transfer. One of the employees was in the shower preparing everything, while this other one was right next to the person that they were looking after. And for like no apparent reason, the headboard of the bed just flew up high in the ceiling and then landed on her face. I was just glad that it didn't land on the old person because that would have hurt him really bad. And so she was like freaked out. And so, and the question that I asked the manager was, so what did the work health and safety people like say? Like, what did you write in the report? Because that clearly is an incident. And then, like, yeah, they didn't believe that the headboard flew up in the air. It's impossible. Maybe she tripped. But when they interviewed the other staff that was in the shower, like, what did you see? What did you witness? She said everything went black. And this was like very bright in the day because they do their showers in the morning. And she couldn't see anything. Everything went black. And she started screaming because she felt freaky. And then the loud thump and the other staff screaming. And so they both ran out of the room.
So they didn't think it was a prank or something. They didn't think that it was someone else coming in. I don't know who had done it, like in human form.
Nor, because those headboards are designed to come off anyway, for CPR and things like that. But when they're not being used, they're screwed in pretty well. So how could it fly that high and land on her face? So yes, she did. Yeah, they had to send her to hospital and things like that. And that wasn't the only thing. So the cupboard, the wardrobe, yeah, the doors, for them to get this person's clothes, they couldn't open it. It's like something was holding it from the inside, and they even called the maintenance person of the facility to come and check. But when he heard what happened, he said, "No, I don't want to go there by myself. You have to come with me." And he also could not open it, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. So, yeah, so I did my thing. So, do I go to this part?
Oh yeah, go the whole story. It reminds me of like when we were small, like we were scared of like people in the closet. Anyways, go ahead, continue. Yeah.
Yeah, and so when I went there, so his room was at the very last room of the whole corridor. And so I was looking for the room number, like why would like room number 1 be at the end of the hall? It just doesn't make sense. Anyway, so I was walking there, and as I was getting closer and closer to his room, it started feeling heavy for me. And that's one of the ways that I sense that there's some presence in a specific space. When it how can I describe this, G? It's like walking on in water. You know, like you have to exert your effort to take steps. That's how it felt as I got closer and closer to the room. And the door was shut, and I asked one of the staff if the person that's living in there is inside, and they said yes, he's still asleep. And I said, can I come in? And yeah, so they let me in, and they asked me, will you be okay by yourself? And I said, yes, thank you. They had no idea what I was about to do, and I didn't either at that time. Because when I was when I was driving on the way to that workplace, I was like, is there anything that I need to bring? Is there any tool? Like, I don't know, crystals, whatever. And then I just went to myself, like, hang on, all I need is me. I know the invocation by heart. I know which beings of love and light to call on to. And I had my pendulum with me during that time that helps me identify what I'm dealing with and count how many of them are there. Um, so yeah, I did my invocation, which I knew by heart. And then so what I do, GG, is I check the baseline frequency of a space to see like how, like what kind of energies I'm dealing with. And I use a megahertz scale for the as a measure of frequency to make it very accurate. And then yeah, a chart. And then, yeah, and then so I used my pendulum, and it points to where the thing is. So I have to lay this flat, and like I ask for it to, like, okay, what's the baseline frequency of that place, if you could remember. So see, it's like moving by itself, and it's pointing to the frequency of Cancer, and that's very low, 42. Yeah, the highest is 14,000, and this is 42. Below Cancer is physical death, 25 hertz, and zero, yeah, it's in hertz, and then 0 hertz is soul reabsorption. So it was quite low. Mm-hmm. Yes, correct. So I measure the frequency, and then I ask how many entities are in here. So I start off with, are there more than 10? Okay, so were there more than 10? So like my pendulum would swing forwards and backwards for yes. And then I have a chart, or even use my hands to count like how many. So it's more than 10. And then I kept going. Is it more than 20? Is it more than 40? And then I kept going. Is it more than 100? More than 500? And it kept saying yes. And then I went to the thousands. So I ended up with 7,778 um, entity energies that were in that single room. Um, yeah. And then what I do is I ask for um, guide and support from whichever light being would like to step forward. Like it would usually be my guides. And then sometimes there are extra ones that would like to step in and support, like an archangel or an angel, an ascended master, or a Christed um, intergalactic race that we know as like extraterrestrials, um, that also work for love and light. So sometimes they'd volunteer to step up. And the interesting thing was, all the 7,778 entities just went where they need to go very quickly. And like it just felt really light. And I went like, wow, like this is so easy. It was as if they were ready to go and were just waiting for someone to show the way. That's how it felt like. And as soon as I was done, I always ask, is there any left? And there was none left. Yeah. And the person that was sleeping in the room just woke up, pulled down his duna, his comforter, and said, "Thank you, thank you." And like I really felt it in my heart. The thing was, when I told this story to the managers, they said, "Gian, he doesn't speak English." So it's like he's Vietnamese and he doesn't speak English. And it was like, oh. And I thought to myself, so who was really saying thank you? First that I got, well, my awareness was his being was saying thank you because I told him, it's okay now. You can sleep better now. It's going to be okay. And then he just smiled back at me. But I also got the awareness that it was the spirit saying thank you. Thank you. Yep. And the frequency of the room immediately changed to 14,000 hertz from 24, which is the maximum, yeah, that I've measured. Like, just like that. Oh, that was very interesting. So as soon as I was done with the process, I was drawn to look at photos on the wall. He's got like images, religious images, and he had images of family. And I was fixated in one of the photos that looked like his children, and there was a female in the middle, but I could not see her face. It was just all black, and I just kept going, and it felt a bit off for me. And so I asked the people that worked there who that was, and they said, "Oh, that's his wife who passed away 3 weeks ago." And apparently, like it's like not really great energy, so could have been brought there. So yeah, because a lot of the times it's either so, especially with you and spirits, most of the time they're not aware that they don't have bodies anymore, and so they just keep like going where they need to go. But also other times they've been invited, or they hang on to an energy that they are familiar with. So that's how it usually happens. Yeah.
And maybe like he was having trouble letting go of his wife, and so his energy kind of had her kind of in between.
Yeah, and like what before the space clearing that I did for his room, he had his eyes closed, but he was very restless. Like he kept rubbing his head and his eyes. And then afterwards he just put his hands down, and when he said thank you, he stopped fidgeting. So yeah, like what if he has a gift as well to tap into the spiritual realm, but he couldn't speak it because he had cognitive impairment.
So did you mention that he had dementia too, or was he like cognitively? Yeah, he was cognitively. It reminds me, my grandmother in her later years had Alzheimer's, and in her later years, I saw a video because she was in Israel at the time, and I saw a video of her like she was having a really intense conversation with her brother who had passed away like many years ago, many years prior to that time, and so people. And then I went to a mediumship circle. It was a Marilyn Rosner in Montreal. She has a spirit center, spiritual sciences center, and this was a few weeks before my grandmother had passed. And so it's these circles where the mediums and Marilyn at the time, she was like just going, she was just speaking to the people who she sensed were had a spirit kind of wanting to convey a message to them, and then she mentioned my grandmother, and I was like, dude, my grandmother's still alive. And I was kind of like angry, but then, but then it came, someone like had mentioned that people with cognitive impairment or like dementia or Alzheimer's have their spirit kind of detached. So they're on their way out. And so they have that ability to, yeah, to connect more with the living.
I think that's about right because like it looks like one foot of theirs is still kind of in this reality, but the other foot is in another reality. So that's why they can tap into two realities at the same time.
Yeah, because I was like, she's still alive. Why are you talking to me about her spirit? And I was like angry. But then a few weeks later, Yeah, she had passed on. Could you tell me a bit about the entities, like maybe your spirit guides that help you clear other entities? Because I do have another story where I was like rushing to work one day, like solstice 2016, and I hadn't changed my winter tires, and it was like a narrow way to work, and then I had swerved and my car flipped in the middle of the two-way highway. So it fell into a ditch upside down. And all of a sudden, like my whole reality went into slow motion. And it felt like all of my spirit guides, all like I needed help in that moment because I could have been pushed towards the other side of the highway, towards the other direction, and they had to saw me. These guardian angels came, they sawed me, they called the ambulance, they sawed me out of the car. But my point, and I was fine, like I had an x-ray and I was totally fine. I got out of it with like scratches uh from the seatbelt. But in that moment I felt like even like this yoga teacher that I had, they all came and I felt their existence because it was like a slow motion kind of like orange like vibration. And it was, yeah, it was spooky, but it was spooky, but it wasn't even spooky, it was so magical because I just needed that. I didn't even ask for their help, they just came. So I was just wondering maybe if you had any like knowledge of your spirit guides in terms of names and why.
And why?
Yeah, and why, like why those spirit guides help you in the, yeah, why you have those specific spirit guides.
Yeah, so I'm gonna tap into my knowledge and also what I've learned about these things. So, spirit guides, like, they're your team, they're your teammates, and you are one of their teammates as well. So you're part of the group. So, it's like, like a friendship that's got a really strong bond, like you have each other's backs, no matter what. Yeah. So even in that split moment when you had your accident, there could have been a thought, a wish, or a feeling that you've had to say like, no, not today. It's a choice. Yeah. So here's the thing, like everything is a choice. So like your spirit guides and then their choice is your choice. You've got choice, they've got choice for you to get together. And my spirit guides, I feel like they have evolved the same as I have. So I am meditating on that. But also I find it so much easier now to tap into archangel energy, and even intergalactic energy. And yeah, like you just have each other's backs, and you look after each other, and because there's still things that you guys like get to do together. Yeah, so like even being very careful about the way we think or say things. Like, for example, I'll give you a very simple example. So, watch when people go, "Oh, I'd like to be one of your dogs someday." Be careful what you wish for. Or when they pass and some people do. Like, maybe if they find like someone that looks after their pets like their people, and the dogs have their own homes and they own nannies or something like that. Or like, "Ooh, I wish I could be a bird." Again, be mindful because like when you are done, when a person makes a choice, if they're done with their physical form, whenever that may be, then that could like come to fruition, whatever that wish is. So someone that's been working in the healthcare industry for so many years, I've seen it with my own eyes so many times. When doctors would say, you only have this much time to live, and they live on for years. Or when the doctors say, oh no, you still have like 3 to 5 years. And then they just decide to pass on like that weekend. Or even watching people that's gone to end of life pathway, like they're in coma, they're on end of life, just keeping them comfortable. And they either bounce back like nothing happened and then walking the next day, or sometimes they like pass on like really quickly or could last longer. So it's all a choice as well.
Okay, so you're saying it's a very like very straightforward conscious and or subconscious choice.
Or subconscious choice. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's why, and like words are powerful. Like words, we spell words, and that's why they're saying it's spelling words. So when we utter words, we are declaring a spell. So that's why be mindful of what we say to ourselves and what we say out loud.
Yeah. That's yeah, because we are like creating, it's like a canvas board, our world, right? We're creating it, and our subconscious doesn't have a sense of humor. So whatever words we use to, right, to characterize ourselves, like it believes it. So if we say we're stupid, then a subconscious are like, okay, so you're stupid. I don't know.
Yeah. Create situations when you'd feel more stupid or to prove that to yourself. And also there are certain moments when like when people are just like really down and low in their lives, and then subconsciously or consciously or saying out loud, or whether they're drunk or they're in drugs, and then they go, oh, I'm done, I can't deal with life anymore, I'm out of here. So be mindful when like that is said, because once you say I'm done with this, then you're inviting other beings, what are called walk-ins, to walk into the vessel of your body. So there are certain stories. There's certain stories that people go into surgery. So they've gone through general anesthetics, they're unconscious for the surgery, and then when they come out from it, like I've heard stories where like the family members would go, oh, that's very odd, it doesn't seem like my mother anymore or my father anymore. They used to be like this and now they're speaking in a different way, or the voice is different. They used to love this food and now they don't like this food. So it's not this, whatever surgery that you need to have general anesthetic. So this is not to scare anyone, but just to be clear and mindful of your intentions. Like for instance, if you're going through surgery, like be firm and clear, like I'm getting back to this body. After this, I will get well. Nobody takes this body. No one's allowed. This is mine. While you are asleep with the anesthetic. Mm.
Like even just saying, like if someone's really hot and they're saying I'm dying, like it's you like the wording is very important, because you mean if we're saying those words, like we're inviting entities to like take control over that. uh
That situation, yeah, because they're just, oh, that's a similar energy. I'll hang out with her. Yeah. Okay, breathe in. Okay. Yeah. We've got all of the light beings here with us around you, Gigi, and here. So it's like very interesting. And can I just say, before we were having trouble pressing record on this, there were a couple of energies that's not wanting this to be recorded. So I just had to clear it. That's why I said, can I stay here? So it was like clearing the space. And then when you came back, the recording like was just seamless. Because you tried a few times, didn't you? And it was like recording couldn't be something something. So I just sensed that there's something that needs to be cleared in this work that we're doing today.
yeah, thank you for clearing that. Thank you for having the record button work. I was just wondering if we could tap into, sometimes like people are having like hard times and I'm having a hard time sometimes, and then I remember, because unless I ask my guardian angels, my ancestors for help in that moment in time, they're not going to respond. And once I ask, sometimes like the solution and the situation changes immediately. So could you talk a bit more about that? Like, why do we need to ask? Aren't they just there, like listening?
Yes. So, yeah, so these beings of love and light, is what I call them collectively, they're just always there with us. They hang out with us. So we're never alone. And there's such a thing as free will and choice. So if we do not ask and actually have that choosing that willingness to receive support, divine intervention from them, they can't really interfere. So it's the same as with imagine you see a friend of yours that's having trouble, but you could actually see the light at the end of the tunnel. And then you give them, oh, this is like what you can do. And then you give them advice in my retreat. This is what we've done to release all these emotions. But if they didn't ask for your help, do you think they'll take that well? Or they're probably like, mind your own business. I want to be in my in my moment. So if they don't ask for it, they can't receive it. They won't they'll discount all the help that you offer them, and they'll come back to you like angry because they didn't ask for it. No, what I'm saying is it's like sometimes when we see that people need help and then we offer support, but they're not really asking for it or willing to have it, they might not take it in the right frame of mind in thinking that you're interfering, you just yeah, you just know everything, so you think this is what's right for me. So what I'm saying is there needs to be that willingness, that free will, that choice to receive support, divine intervention, safety, caring, the nurturing energy all around you. Yes. Yes, there's so many parables about this. Like this story that I've heard over and over. Like this man was praying that he was stuck in a flood and he's just on the roof of his house, like, God, please help me. And then a boat comes, and then, no, God's gonna save me. Thank you. I'm not gonna be on your boat. And then a helicopter comes, like, come on, we're here to help. No, no, no. God's gonna help me. And then, like, the final thing was, I think the end of the story was he died, and then was like, why didn't you help me? I've sent you so many, emergency services to help you out, and you didn't even. Yeah. So like in that particular instance, this person was like seeing things should show up a certain way. But yeah, when we ask for support and divine intervention, divine guidance, it always shows up better than we expect.
Oh yeah, I definitely 100% believe that from experience. But I'm wondering, okay, this is might be a little advanced, but is it the same? You know, all the signs that the universe, God gives us, and the more we ignore the signs, the louder they get. Are these light being entities that are showing us the signs, or is it God, Him, herself, or the universe?
Okay, that's a whole gamut of questions from different angles, but yes, I'll take that.
One specific is like, are these signs from the universe? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's different levels. Is it from the
Yeah.
spirits or from the God or the universe?
Yeah. So there's, how's this particular phrase or verse in the Bible, ask and you shall receive. So the clearer you are in your asks, in your questions of what you want to ask for, and maybe like also practicing having requesting for that clarity. Can you make it so obvious for me so I could easily understand? Because sometimes I ignore things. So please, yeah, so please make it easy for me so I would know that it's from you, or it's a sign or a direction that would help me in my path or in making decisions.
You could also ask your dreams. I sometimes ask my dreams for clarity, but I don't specify that I need to make it clear and that I want to remember the dream. So being as specific with your requests as possible is key. It's helpful, or else you don't remember your dream.
Yeah, and yeah, if we're asking for something vague from the universe, from God, like what do you mean? Like can you like specify like abundance in what? Like what does that look like? So and it's different for every person what that looks like and what that means as well.
So you just gotta like fill out a really specific Excel sheet for God and the spirits. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I could talk about this stuff for a millennia. I love this kind of stuff. I was just wondering, yeah, so you just to like to finalize a little bit. So you offer these services to go into people's houses and to clear entities, or if you could tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so I I can do it in person. At the actual space where the space needs to be cleared. So it could be a residential home or a business, or I've even done it in for an island overseas. When I did this with my friends, so the mayor of that specific town flew us to this province to clear the whole island because they just had a calamity and there were so many casualties and it was just like really heavy. And this kind of work that I do is also something that I can do remotely. So like I can tap into if there's any energies, non-beneficial energies that's influencing you in your energetic field, in your physical body, in a home or at work or in school or in your car. Um, like why would it be physical body, because like there are times where like we would feel some kind of intensity in a specific part of our body, and for me like I would normally feel it on the left shoulder, so like I would ask the question, is this an entity or is this like a physical thing? So if it's like either way, like just asking those questions like help lighten it up. And if it's an entity that needs help in getting cleared, then I've contributed to my body in making it feel better, and I've also contributed to the entity to transmute where it needs to go.
I have a left shoulder issue right now. Like I think I yanked it a few months ago. I went to the osteopath yesterday for it. So maybe it's an entity.
I can check that for you offline. Yeah. Yeah. But also like for people, sorry, for people that are listening, like this is not to make you guys scared. Um like I'd like to empower you with this information. So the being, so we're all beings, embodied or no bodies, like spirits. So the being with the body, like you and I, like us, we're actually more powerful than the disembodied ones. But you know, like movies, like horror shows, like tell us otherwise. And we can tell them to like, no, you can't do that. The thing is like sometimes people like have certain situations where they feel like they're going crazy because they hear and see things. But what if they're just spiritually aware and don't know how to manage it? That they are gifted. So yeah, even before we started our session and we were having technical difficulties, I had to ask them to step back because they were curious, like, what's happening? Are they going to talk about us? And they sometimes just need acknowledgement. There are some that are here to contribute as well. And it's like that story that I shared in our group, like in one of the video visibility challenges. And I was this was a couple of weeks ago. I was working in the room, um like as my office, but it's really one of the patients' room. And the lights in the room just started flickering like a few times that look like Morse code to me, but I don't know Morse code. And then I just observed it and it stopped. And then the lights on the corridor started flickering the same way. And then it stopped. And then as soon as I said like, "Oh, hi." Like, "Thanks for saying hi. I acknowledge your presence." It stopped. It stopped doing it. So it was like, "Oh, okay." It's like for people. It's like if you have someone there that, no one acknowledges or no one sees deliberately or unconsciously, like that person's not gonna feel great, are they?
Oh, so they're gonna keep on asking for attention because I've heard this before and I've seen it before in my experience. Like spirits, they try to communicate through light flickering. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Light filtering, or like if you've ever, I have experienced this lots of times. There's like a tree or a bush leaf or only one branch is moving. And then I go like, oh, hi. Thank you.
Oh,
Thanks for saying hi.
so you acknowledge them, you acknowledge the entity, you sense it, you acknowledge it, and then they could like kind of relax.
So not everything is out there to harm you. They're just there, existing like we do.
Right. Oh yeah. And is there like something, maybe like some practices that you could offer to the listeners in terms of being able to tap into these abilities, these mediumships? A bit.
Yes. So first is like you need to make a choice that you would like to have this not activated even, because everyone's got this ability. Yeah, but it's like building on that sensitivity of that awareness. And one of the main things that I would tell people is to lower their barriers. Because we have automatic like walls that we put to protect us. The thing is, when we have all these barriers up, no matter what they're made of, I don't know, they're made of glass, metal, whatever we imagine they'd be made of, then we can't see what we're meant to see. There's so many things to be in communion with and tap into, like even just nature. Like we sense nature and the joy, the liveliness. And it's the same with the spirit world. Like when we put the barriers down to, it's not really protecting ourselves. It's like separating us from everything that is.
And this is kind of like spiritually, energetically, our nervous system, just like meditating, calming down our nervous system, letting go of maybe some
Yeah.
barriers that we have in relation to connecting to the spiritual world or the spirit world. And then just,
Mhm. Yeah. And maybe like just practice that, and grounding is a really great thing. Like even practicing it's called earthing, if I'm not mistaken. Like you just walk bare feet on the grass, on the soil, and just really sense the energy of Mother Earth, like connecting up through you. Because like these are some of the things that like that we lose in touch with. So having that extra sensory things, I know like in movies they say sixth sense. So it's not just spirit world, it's the earth, it's energy as a whole, like everything. And sometimes like you notice like you tap into synchronicity, so you look at your phone and it's like 222 or 111, or you see a sign somewhere of like a question that you've put in your head, and then the sign goes, you've got this, or just be you. And like at that specific time I'm like, oh, I actually needed to see that or hear that, or a song plays, I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah.
so like synchronicities happen when you listen to the signs and you're with in the flow, right?
And presence, being in that moment. Yeah, being in that moment, because like you mentioned earlier, like signs could be very subtle. It could be as subtle as like wind blowing on your skin that we barely notice most of the time.
And that could signify get the job or like say yes to the job. But that's so subtle. It's like, how do I connect this to saying yes to the job? Like,
It could be the response that you are like searching for, like when you're, yeah, going to decide on something about your life.
it's like sometimes it's just like, what is the sign? What is it telling me? But like, yeah,
But your head is so loud, like what's the sign? And then like it's right there, but like no, it's because it's just so loud here. So yeah, meditation, grounding, and presence, being present. Yeah.
love it. Thank you so much, Giancarla. Is that how you pronounce your name? Gian. Awesome. I love you. Love you.
People would say it differently. Like in since I moved to Melbourne, they'd say Giancarla, but my Italian friends would go Giancarla. So yeah, because it's an Italian name. So that's why I tell them, yes, you can call me that in that way, in that specific way. Yeah, and for those people that would still be like, oh my gosh, no, I can't deal with spirits. I don't want to do that. what you could do is whatever it is practice that you do, like prayer, meditation, but also you could even put ask for opalescent white light to be lit in like the borders of the windows, the doors of your home. Yeah. Or if you don't, I'm like, oh, I have too many windows and doors. You could even just ask for a sphere to form around your home. So I do that for people's homes. So it's either whatever is being called that's appropriate for the space, if it's a sacred geometry of a sphere or a pyramid, um, like anything, or a tetrahedron, then like putting that in the periphery of the property just to like not let non-beneficial energies and entities through. Yeah.
So only good guiding
Yeah.
light
Yes.
energies are able to come
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, and being mindful of your energy as well. If you're feeling sad, angry, frustrated, like lower vibration emotions attract these things. Like drinking way too much, like, not drinking in a way of celebration, but for the purpose of getting like really wasted and drunk, that like puts you in a lower vibration. And there are entities that are human spirits that have died because of alcohol intoxication, and then they go, oh, that's familiar, I'm gonna hang out with this guy. So yeah, so choosing higher vibration emotions and activities that make your heart sing and that give you joy and the love, like like that's not gonna attract lower vibration, non-beneficial energies and entities if you're vibing high. Yeah. Peace. Yeah. The interesting thing about like horror stories or horror films is I actually like view it differently because maybe because I'm different. I'm owning that. I remember like watching horror films. Of course, when I was a child, like I would be really scared and like have nightmares. But as soon as I tap more into my spiritual capacities, I watch it to learn. And like I'll give you an example. So I was watching the Insidious with a group of friends while they were all under the blanket and like screaming. I was like this. I was like, ah, yeah, that makes sense. Yep. Because I wanted to learn, like, so, yeah, I said, like, how did she get rid of the spirits? Like, what was her method? And then when she pulled out her pendulum, ah, yeah, that's exactly what I would do. Easy. Yeah. And then in my head, like, oh, she could have done that in the beginning of the movie. But of course, they want the movie to keep going. And I watched Insidious too, and with a guy that I was dating years ago, and like how men would think like, oh yeah, when it's scary, the girl would just like curl up and get cozy with me. The thing was, he was freaking out, and I was like this. It's like, yeah, 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 that makes sense. Oh, okay. Oh, but hmm. And I was like thinking, oh, if that was me, this was how it's gonna clear that spirit or help them transmute and transcend to somewhere else. So yeah, that's what I find funny about myself when watching horror movies is for me to learn. Oh, even the Pope's Exorcist, like that's something quite recent with Russell Crowe. Yeah, so it's I think it's a real story of a specialized um skill in the Catholic Church. I don't know if they would own up to it now. And if there's anyone here listening from the Vatican, that like there would be specific priests that would handle like these kinds of things, and it's not just anyone that can do exorcism. Like there's like a hierarchy or something. So that's why the movie was entitled "The Pope's Exorcist," because like that person will be called if other exorcist priests can't handle things. Yeah, I know. So I watched that with curiosity. to learn. Yes, documentary style. Exactly. Not to be fearful about, but to learn.
Right. Yeah. And they go. Yeah, horror films were always something that I kind of feared, but maybe next time I'll look at it as if it's a documentary.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But thank you so much, Giancarla. Maybe I'll have you on a second episode. We could talk about poltergeists and Ouija boards. That would be awesome.
Yeah, we can talk about other things and like anything that comes out of what we need to know.
It's true. The signs. But awesome. Oh, we're going to include all your socials down below, your link tree in the description. So if you want to know more about Giancarla and what she could offer you, then check it out. Thank you very much for tuning in. See you in the next episode, everyone. Thank you, Giancarla.